Hi there, my name's Paul Hodala. I'm going to do a quick video to show you how you can use Evernote to record conversations and observations in your classroom. This is useful when you're trying to triangulate data to come up with a grade for a particular student. The nice thing about using a tool like Evernote is a couple-fold. First of all, it's a cloud-based application, so you are storing things in the cloud and can access it from any computer or device that can connect to the internet. As well, there's a desktop application for computers as well as iOS and Android apps available for portable devices as well. So you can really and truly create these notes and access them on any device at any time from anywhere, provided you can get onto the internet. The other nice thing about it is with these notes, they are tagged, and by tagging them, you're then able to easily find a particular student, find an observation, find a conversation, and you can even search your notes for keywords. So if there was something specific that you were looking for that you hadn't actually tagged, you could still search your note for that. Right now I'm on the desktop version, and I'm going to show you how you would create a notebook in the desktop version, create notes in your notebook, and include things like adding video and audio to your notes as well. So I'm going to walk through how you do this on the desktop version, and then we'll do the same thing and show you how it would work on the web-based version in case you didn't want to use your desktop computer. So the first step is to actually create a notebook. And a notebook is just like you would think of a paper notebook. It's a section where you're going to keep notes that are common. So I would create a notebook for each of my classes. So to create a notebook, what you're just going to do is go to the File menu and select New Notebook. And again, I'm on the desktop app. I need to give it a name, so I'm going to call it SBI3U1. I'm going to make it a synchronized notebook, so that any changes I make on my computer automatically go up to Evernote in the cloud and then would automatically push out to any of my devices so that I can check these notes no matter where I am. By making it your default, you don't have to do that. All that would do is if you happen to be using web clipping, which is where you go to a website and grab some information from the website and want to throw it into a notebook, by default it would put it into this particular notebook. Since this is a notebook about making observations and recording observations and conversations with students, we don't need to make it our default. So I'm going to click on Create. And there you go. I've got my SBI 3U1 notebook created. So now I need to make a note. So to make a note, I simply click on New Note. And I'm going to name this note a conversation note. So I'm going to put C, and I'm going to start each of my notes with a C or an O for conversation or observation, just to make it a little bit easier to visually see how many conversations or observations I've made for a particular student. I can also add that into my tags, and I'll do it kind of twice. So I'm using a bit of nomenclature here to make sure that visually I can quickly see C's all in one spot, kind of on a quick look, or see the O's all in one spot on a quick look. But I can also add that in the tag. So I'm going to put down C because it was a conversation, and I'm going to put down about John Smith missing their assignment. In terms of tags, I'm going to create some tags here. The tag that I'm going to create is conversation, and you can see I've already been working with this system, so I already have a conversation tag. So I'm going to choose that tag. I'm also going to choose I'm going to make a tag called John Smith, and that way I can tag all of the times that I make a note on John with his name. You'll notice that it shows you the date that it was created, and if I went and updated this note, it would also show me the date that I updated it. So I'm just simply going to, in this section, it's a typing window, so I'm going to type out a conversation that I had with John. So John missed handing in his last assignment. During our discussion, John indicated that he is struggling with the concepts that are being covered. So there's my note for John. I could put in additional information. If I click on this I can put in additional things. If there's a website for some reason, maybe it was based on the work, the assignment, I could actually link to that if I wanted to. I could add a location if I wanted to. By default, I would be the author, so I'm going to just leave it. So there's my note, and it's saving it as I work, so I don't have to click save or anything, and in fact, the next time it connects to the internet, it'll send that up to the cloud and be available on my online version. In addition to typing out notes, I can also record audio when I'm on the desktop version. So this won't work on the web version. It would work on your portable device, and it will work on your computer, the desktop version, but it won't work on the web version. So this would be something that I would do from a computer, from a mobile device, if I wanted to record audio. And basically what I can do is just simply attach an audio clipping to it. And you'll notice in my toolbar, one of my options here is this little microphone. If I hit the microphone, it's going to record what I say, and you can see it's already moving, even though it hasn't started recording yet, just because I'm speaking into the same microphone. And so I could hit record. This is me recording a message about Susie. She came to me today and said that she didn't understand the lesson. When I asked her some details about the content, she really did demonstrate a lack of understanding of today's lesson. One of the issues that we talked about, though, was paying attention during class time and not having so many conversations with her lab partner. So there I've now got my audio attached, and you can see that Evernote has created a WAV file with a little play button, so I could actually play it back and attached it to my note. And you'll notice over here it's created a play icon so that I can see that this one was a recording rather than a typed out message. Again, I have actually tagged this with conversation and the student's name. Because I'm not using text in this one, and it was a conversation with Susie, I might also want to include a tag about the fact that it's about a lesson being misunderstood. So I'm going to actually add a tag called course content. And that way, just if I ever want to pull up and say, is it about something about course content, I can look back and see that. You can always go back and add additional tags if you need to, or you can create tags as you're creating your piece. In addition to being able to do audio and to also do a typed note, on the desktop version, I also can take pictures of things. Now, this would require me to move my laptop around, and I'm right now sitting in my comfortable living room, but I'm going to show you what you would do as if you were in a classroom, how you'd actually snap a picture of this. And this would work a lot better on mobile devices, so I will show you afterwards how on an iPhone or an iPad or an Android device you could actually, using the Evernote app, take a picture of something and annotate it. And one of the nice things is you can always annotate it afterwards, or you can annotate it right as you're working on it. So to do that, I simply click on this little icon right here. This icon allows me to take a snapshot of things, and so I'm going to turn on that option. Here I am. Hello. So if I was in the classroom, what I would end up doing is turning it to my students, and we will have my little toy area for my daughter represent the class, and I would simply then click on take a snapshot. So it will count down on the Mac, it counts down, and it will then pop a picture of that. So there it's taken the picture. So if this was Bobby working on a group project with his classmates, I can take that, insert it, and one of the nice things with Evernote, and it's just showing you it here, Evernote will actually recognize text within a picture. So if you were to take a picture of student work, it will recognize a lot of that text, but it will also recognize text on a blackboard or something. So for students, it is a strategy if they were wanting to use something like this, that they could take pictures of the blackboard with this teacher's notes on it, and it will actually recognize text. Now the text has to be fairly clearly written in order for it to be recognized. So if the student has messy writing or the teacher has messy board writing, it won't easily pick that up. But I've said okay, and so then after I've taken the picture, I can then continue to add a little note. So this is an example of Bobby working productively with his classmates. He has been helping them understand the project by using different forms of analogies to make sense of the difficult concepts. So there's my note that goes along with this picture, and again it's being synced up into the cloud, and so on any of my devices I'd be able to go in, see the picture, and also see the little bit of typing that I did. Okay, so those are the kind of 3 ways that you can create a note on the desktop version. Next I'm just going to quickly show you how you would do the same types of note taking on the web version. All right, now you can see that I am in my web browser. So I'm inside a Safari because I'm on a Mac, but this would work on any web browser. I've gone to evernote.com and logged in with my account information. You can see when I log in, I've got all my notebooks on the side, and it looks rather similar to the desktop version, which is nice. There's my SBI 3U1 notebook, so I can click on it, and here are my 3 notes. You can see the one with the picture. I've also got the audio one, and it will bring up a player to play that audio file so that I can listen to it online, or the typed note that I created as well. So to create a note here, you simply click on New Note, and you put in your information. So maybe this is an observation on Damien. So Damien answering quiz questions after reviewing. And so again, this is an observation, and I've got my tags that I had already created exist already. So Damien Smith, just make up a nice name. And so here I can then create a note. Now you'll notice what I don't have is the ability to take a picture or the ability to record audio. And that's because I'm on a web-based version, so it doesn't tap into your microphone or your camera on your laptop. So with this one though, I could attach things. So if I had stuff on a flash drive that I wanted to attach, I could still attach a picture. If it's an audio or if it's a audio file or an image file, it will actually embed them into the note, and you'll be able to see them or play them like you would with ones you created on your desktop. The only difference is just creating that initial content you can't do from the web version. So again, I can put in a note here. So there's an observation I've made. Okay. And again, with this one, just to make sure that it saves, I'm going to click on Done. Now it is set to auto save, but that way I know that the changes get saved, and you can see it over here. And as well, when I'm creating the notebooks, if you were using this version instead of the desktop version, to create a notebook when you log in, you simply drop down the menu beside Personal Notebooks and select New Notebook. So on the desktop, you go to File and New Notebook. On the web version, you just click on the downward triangle beside Personal Notebook to bring up the contextual menu, and then you can actually create a new notebook. One of the really nice and powerful features of Evernote is the ability to use mobile devices to create your notes as well. So you're not just having to use the computer or the web version, but you can also use an Android device, an iOS device. So basically any portable device that you have, you could also be taking notes on. So here's an example of me taking a note on my Evernote inside of my iPhone. So this is a screenshot of my iPhone. To take a note, I simply click on the plus button at the bottom. And when I do that, I'm taken into a note creating space. So I can then give it a title. And again, I'm using the same nomenclature. It's an observation. It was Susie using patterning. And I get a keyboard to write my note. The button beside the keyboard is actually nice too. It allows you to do things like indent and bulleted lists and bold and underline and stuff. So you can even have this note be more than just simple straight text. You can edit it and modify it like you would in a word processor. Really nice feature. Up top, you can see I've got icons to take a picture, so I can snap a picture with my cell phone or my Android device. I can also record audio, and the other nice one is I can access my camera roll, so I can access pictures that I've previously taken. Where that would be nice is in class if I was simply just snapping as many pictures as I could of evidence. So I have the students working on a project and I'm snapping different pictures that represent different aspects of the learning. I could just simply be taking those pictures without having to worry about creating a title and adding the note and doing all that, and instead go back later and create my notes based on those pictures, but just simply create those pictures. So this tool allows me to access my previously taken pictures and import them. So I was going to do a note on Susie using patterning, so I took a picture of my pillow because there's a pattern. So took a picture, and there it is inside of my note. And the nice thing is, once I then save that note and click on the back to go back to all my notes, clicking just on the course code, if I look at the web version, you can see there's my note up on the web version, and if I go into the desktop version, there's the note up on the desktop version as well. So I actually have that note in all of my areas because it syncs it with the cloud, sends it up there, and then simply blasts it out to all the devices. Okay, so now I have all these notes that I've created, and you can see them all here. And the question becomes, well, what do I do when I want to then look back through them and see a specific note or find a note on a specific student? So remember, we've been using tags all along. So I've been tagging the student's name and the type of observation or conversation, the type of note that I'm creating, in my notes themselves. And those tags then become useful for then finding anything that I've referenced with that tag. It's kind of a way of highlighting things. So down below the notebooks, you'll see that there's this tags window, and here are all the different tags that I have created for all of my notebooks. So I've got ones in here that even aren't related to these notes. But looking at these tags, what you start to notice is instantly I can see, well, conversations, I've created 9 conversation notes so far, and out of observations, I've created 5 observation notes. So right away, I can look at that and say, wow, I'm doing many more conversations, recording many more conversations than I am observations. So that might be something that I want to work on, starting to collect more observations for my students. The other piece, though, is that I can also see the notes that I've collected for students. So there's Damien's notes. I've got 3 on him. I've got 3 on Bobby. I've got 4 on John. And the nice thing about it is if I click on any one of these tags, let's say I click on conversation, that's going to show me all the conversation notes that I've collected, so I could look through those. But if I click on a student's name, because I've been using that nomenclature of putting a C or an O before the description of what the conversation or observation was about, I can quickly visually see here that with John, while I've collected 4 notes, I've only got 1 observation on him. So I might want to improve the number of observations that I'm taking on John. So that's a quick visual way. Now I do see the tags here as well. I've just found that once I start adding in lots of notes and stuff that it's a bit harder for me to notice that. So I've found personally that by putting the C and O at the beginning here, it gives me a really quick visual to be able to say, yeah, I'm missing some stuff. I've got to work on getting some more observational data on this particular student. Now the other piece is, what if you want to sort? Because once you have a whole class, you're going to have lots of names and conversations, observations. What if you just want to sort out conversations for a specific student? You can do that. You can select multiple tags to filter by. So I'm going to click on conversation, and if I'm on a PC, I'm going to hold down the control key, and if I'm on a Mac, I'm going to hold down the Apple key, and then click on another tag, which in this case will be the student's name. So now what I'm asking for is any conversations with John Smith as the tags. And so there you can see I've quickly got just John's conversations. Similarly, if I want to do this again, I could go click on observations and another student's name, and I'm going to bring up the observation, in this case for Bobby. Okay, so by clicking on those tags on the side, you're able to quickly sort through the notes that you've created and then actually be able to filter and kind of dig deeper into the notes. Now, if you included a tag for the various units, then you could also filter that as well. So maybe you want to look at all the observation notes that you've made for Bobby in Unit 1. You can absolutely do it that way. So that's how you create notes for observation and conversational data for your students using Evernote. Again, you can use multiple devices, iOS devices, Android devices, the web, as well as a desktop application. The one thing to take note is there is a limit on the amount of files that you can transfer up in a month, and it's fairly high. It's over 50 megabytes, so it's more a matter of if you're taking a lot of pictures that you might fill that up. But for the free account, if you're staying under that, you'll be fine each month, and it resets each month. You can start again. So when you're taking those notes, using typed notes, using audio notes, often a little bit smaller notes than if you're taking pictures all the time. So try to use those pictures for when it's really important to have that screen image of the note that you're taking. Good luck with taking those notes.